What's up guys, it's San here from Crypto Kiwi. Now in this video it's going to be an update about my KiwiSaver. So last year in March 2020 guys, the stock market, or pretty much all of the assets in the stock market and also KiwiSaver funds, which are usually invested in certain things close to the stock market, everything completely dumped in mid-March last year. And you can see this here. This is the fall of the Dow Jones on that day. And as you can see, because this is American, it was on the 6th of March 2020. Look how far this dipped down. I'll just move my face. And look how far it quickly bounced back to its previous price history over the last couple months before that. So pretty much the whole stock market dumped really fast and really quickly. Not only that, but everyone that was in KiwiSaver in either aggressive or medium to aggressive funds definitely saw their KiwiSavers dump a lot in value as well. And I remember there were articles of people saying that my KiwiSaver has dropped $30,000 to $50,000. People were freaking out, didn't know what to do, and didn't really understand that this is just a healthy correction in the investment market. Now, I made a video at the time and I had said that on the 14th of February 2020, I had moved all of my KiwiSaver funds out of the aggressive funds that I was invested in. So early last year when COVID started taking off and we started hearing about things coming out of China in regards to the pandemic, I got a little bit concerned and thought that this is going to hit the economy a little bit. So I sold all of my KiwiSaver out of the aggressive funds. So that was the AMP Aggressive, AMP Income Generator, AMP Property Fund, ANZ Growth Fund, and ASB Growth Fund. I sold all of my KiwiSaver units. So pretty much all I was doing was moving my KiwiSaver funds around. Now, usually you can do that with most KiwiSaver providers. I'm with ANP and they do allow that to happen very easily. So I took advantage of that. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why you should really be in control of your own KiwiSaver and be able to move funds at any given time when you like. This is very important. And I think I only realized this after I actually made this move and then suddenly looked back recently today and I thought, you know what, I'll just do the quick math and see how much money I actually saved or how much money I created for myself and wealth in my KiwiSaver from doing this. So I'm going to explain how this worked with this chart so you can actually see how much money I made just from moving my funds around at the right time. Not exactly the right time, but at a decent time where I was able to sell my KiwiSaver units at a higher value and then buy back in at a cheaper value later on. So on the 14th of February, guys, when I sold all of my units from my KiwiSaver funds, how this works is when you are invested in KiwiSaver, you own units inside different funds. Now, the value of those units go up or down depending on how well that fund does. If the fund does really well with its investments, the value of the units go up. Therefore, the value of your KiwiSaver goes up because you own a certain amount of units within this fund. So on the 14th of February last year in 2020, I decided I'm going to move all of my KiwiSaver units out of these aggressive funds and put them into cash funds where they're basically just sitting cash and not earning anything and they don't really change in value. And when I sold, as you can see, I sold at these values per unit in each fund. So the AMP Aggressive Fund, for example, the units cost $1.96. That's how much I sold them for. And then in late April, I bought back in when they were down to $1.69. So that's about a 25-cent decrease. So I was able to buy back in. And when I brought back in, I was able to get 163 extra more units because it was cheaper to buy back in from when I sold. So it's like if you sold Bitcoin, let's say you sold Bitcoin for $2 and then 3 months later you brought it back in for $1.60 or $1.70. You, of course, with the same amount of money, you're going to get a few more Bitcoins because you're buying it at a cheaper price from what you sold at. This is the same here with my KiwiSaver funds. I sold out of this fund when it was worth $1.96 a unit and brought back in when it was worth $1.69. And I did that with all of these funds at the same time. So as you can see, all of these funds were worth higher when I sold on the 14th of February. And then on late April, the 30th of April, they were worth less. Now that's cool, and down here it actually shows you how much extra units in each fund I was able to get. So the AMP Aggressive Fund, I was able to get an extra 163 units. In the AMP Income Generator, I was able to get over 180. In the AMP Property Fund, I got over 340 extra units for free just by selling at a higher price, buying in at a lower price. Number 4, which was the ANZ Growth Fund, I got another 193. And then lastly, the ASB Growth Fund, I got another 206 units. So I just went and checked my KiwiSaver today. So I'm still in all of these funds and they've done exceptionally well over the last 6 months, just like the rest of the stock market and investment market has. But what's cool to really see, and this is why I'm making this video, because I want to stress enough the importance of having control over your KiwiSaver funds can make all the difference, guys. So today, these fund units are worth $2.16 for the AMP Aggressive, $1.31 for AMP Income, $1.42 for AMP Property Fund, $1.61 for ANZ Growth Fund, and $1.57 for ASB Growth Fund. So that's a lot higher than what I actually brought in at. So that means that since I brought in, these have gone up significantly. And these are the amount of extra units I got by buying in at a cheaper price. And these are the value of all those units today. And this is how much I've made just off those extra units that I got for free, basically, for selling at a higher price on the 20th of February and buying in a few months later at a lower price. This is how much those extra units are worth today. So the 160 units that I got from the AMP Aggressive Fund is worth $535. As you can see, the next one's 300, another 500, another 500, another 500. That comes to a total of $2,473 extra in my KiwiSaver from spending between 20 to 30 minutes changing between funds on both that day out of the aggressive funds to cash funds, and then back into aggressive funds on this day, simply because I was just very slightly watching the market and saw that a potential fall might happen, and it did, and I was able to buy back in at slightly cheaper prices. If I was probably more onto it, I could have got it at even more if I was watching the market very, very closely, but that's fine. I'm still happy. I still made $2.5 grand extra for my KiwiSaver just from being able to control my own KiwiSaver funds and knowing how to do it at the right time when it happened, or when the opportunity came up and I could see that. That's when I took advantage of that opportunity and was able to make over $2,400 extra for my KiwiSaver. So that's not a lot of money, right? I mean, it is, but for a lot of people in their KiwiSaver, $2,400 might be peanuts. But in considering that at the time my KiwiSaver only had $9,603 in it, those current extra units have bumped me up a whole 25% higher of what I was at that time in KiwiSaver. So I was able to pretty much add 25% more value or wealth to my KiwiSaver at the time when you compare the values of these extra free units that I got at today's values. I was able to bump up my KiwiSaver by over 25%, by over a quarter, just by doing this simple move. So I don't mean to skite or anything, but what I'm trying to say, guys, is that if you actually have control of your KiwiSaver, you know what provider you're with, you can log in at any given time. So AMP are really easy with this. I'm guessing most are as well. If you can log in at any time and move between fund and fund, and the fees are very, very small to do so, and if you believe that that is a good move for your own KiwiSaver, then in the long run it could really benefit you. Like I said, all I saw was an opportunity at the time. I made 2 videos speaking about it. There were a few people that even disliked my video and sent some nasty comments saying I was stupid for coming out of these funds, but over the long run, over a year, it's made me over $2.5 grand extra for free in my KiwiSaver, which is, like I said, that was a 25% increase on my amount of wealth that I had in my KiwiSaver at that time. So really, really cool, and hopefully you've been able to understand this. It can be quite confusing, and I've tried explaining this as easy as I can. Basically, like I said, I sold at these values, brought back into these values, which is cheaper, which means I got all of these extra units for free because I bought in at a cheaper price. Today, these extra units are worth this much alone, the units that I got for free, which equates to $2.5 grand, and that's bumped my KiwiSaver up by 25% from the value that it was back at that time when I did all those moves. So apart from that, guys, thanks for watching. If you do have any comments, do leave them down below. I know this has been a bit of a random video, but I just realized I haven't actually checked how well this is done and played out over the last year and a half or so. So I quickly pumped in the numbers, and these are the current live rates of all these funds. And I was just quite shocked that over 25% increase was what those 2 moves did from selling and buying back in a whole year later. So like I said, if you have any questions, if you're confused by any of this or you want any help in justifying what I've just explained here on the screen, then definitely ask below and I'll help you guys out. But apart from that, thanks for watching. My name's San from Crypto Kiwi, and I'll see you in my next video.